Hello, everyone. Welcome back to What's the Rate Season 2, 2026. I am your host, Breonn Lyons, and we are back in the game with another season. Happy holidays. I hope everybody had a great holiday, great new year. And we're going into 2026 embodying. We're going into 2026 confident in who we are, with a stronger knowing of self, being willing to walk away from things that no longer serve us, and having the courage to walk into situations that do. Praise God, amen. Going into season 2, so something that's different about this season, a couple things that are different about this season, but for this season, I'm doing this episode, the introductory episode, after I've recorded all of my episodes with all of my guests, and I love that I did that because it's a lot more, I don't know, just like satisfying, just kind of like sitting here and having had all of those conversations already and learning so much from each of my guests. And even now I can say that even from talking to everybody, I'm a different person, and I myself have been able to evolve and grow with the things that I've learned from them. And even with planning this episode and trying to figure out what I'm going to say to you guys and how I'm going to open up season 2, I've drafted this over and over again because every single time I have new perspectives, every single time I have a different experience that reshapes who I am and how I think and how I deal with people in my life, how I go about approaching and executing my life and my career. And I just think that's so cool how you constantly are evolving. I just really appreciate that. I appreciate that about not only myself, but just the possibility of being able to do that as a human being. I just think evolution is so beautiful. And I really do try to honor that in my work, in my artwork. The other thing that's different about this season is that I came up with the idea of supplementing my regular season 2, with the interviews with artists, with a sub-series called Resources, where I bring in CEOs, financial advisors, creative directors for celebrities and beauty brands and ads and things like that, and also entertainment attorneys, people who've written for SNL, overall just people in my network and people I know who have the knowledge and the experience that they can give to us and help us as we navigate this journey post-grad. And I'm really excited because already with me telling some of my guests about some of the people that I have on for that series, they're very excited because they know it's going to help them out. And that's exactly what my intention is with the resource series. So I'm really excited to share those people and those conversations with you guys. With season 2, I feel like I was crafting these episodes and decorating these honest conversations. And it's really cool how being a creative, you're still able to add that artistic element into whatever you do. And I feel like I was able to do that with podcasting, even though it is a lot of social media and a lot of video editing and things like that. I feel like I still was able to craft them out and design these episodes, and it really fed that creative piece of me. So going into a couple updates, season 1 ranked number 82 in Canada in career pods. That is insane. I got the email for that, and it was in September, but I hadn't seen it until I think maybe like November. It was something crazy like that. And I was like, what? That's crazy. And by the time I went to Apple Podcasts and like went to go check, it was gone. But of course, because September had passed. But I was like, oh my gosh. And I think it goes to show this podcast, even though it speaks to creatives specifically and artists specifically, it transcends that career field, and it can speak to anybody who's just navigating post-grad life and just trying to figure it out and just be an adult, you know what I mean? So I'm really proud of myself and proud of everybody that I had on season 1 for sharing their stories and their process and their journeys, because it's resonating with people and it's fulfilling the intention that I originally had put into this show. And that's the most fulfilling thing that could happen with this project that I'm doing. So to anybody in Canada who's listening right now, thank you so much for supporting the show. I know I don't have 1 million followers right now, but it's not about the vanity metrics, right? But I just really appreciate that, because I never would have thought that. I mean, who would have guessed, that people in Canada were listening to my podcast, So That's really cool. Even with the feedback that I've gotten from this show, especially post-grad and transitioning from a student into post-grad. And honestly, I really do want to speak to that because I really do believe that is something that I also am learning just personally as Breonn. Yes, you're always going to be a student of life, but getting out of that, like, I don't want to say submissive because that's not what it is, but just like always feeling like you don't have the authority or the answers to your life's situations or crossroads or problems and things like that. And a good example of this, and one of the things I did want to speak to, was I did an internship. I won't say where or what it was, and it was with a very big company. And I graciously decided to exit from that. Did it with grace and class and elegance, of course, because you know that's who I am. But I feel like oftentimes we as artists, especially newly graduated or even 5 years out, just like freshly overall in the field, right? You can feel intimidated when it comes to walking away from things like that because you understand it's an opportunity, right? And there's a lot of benefits that come with being in these type of positions. But overall, what I've learned is that if it's not serving you within the first like month, and I know some things take time, but truly, if you haven't learned anything new within the first like month of being in a new opportunity, it's okay to be like, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and pack myself up and take it somewhere else. And I find that the last half of 2025 was me doing that a lot. I left a lot of groups and organizations and opportunities that I just felt like were not in alignment with who I am. And it's okay to do that. And overall, that just taught me that I do have autonomy over my life. And it just reminded me of that, right? So I just say all that to say that it's okay to walk away from things. And I know people say that all the time, but it's different to truly put that into practice, especially when you're in a very fertile area in your career and you're new and you're trying to figure things out, right? So opportunities can feel like these golden nuggets that you have to hold on to, and they're so precious and scarce, but it's like, no. You know what I'm saying? So, number 2, this is a little bit more personal, but I do believe it is extremely relevant. So for my 24th birthday, I went skydiving, and I did it entirely on a whim, like spontaneously. I chose to do it on a Wednesday, but I actually went on my actual birthday, which was on a Saturday. And I didn't tell anybody I was going. I didn't tell my parents. I didn't tell my friends. Nobody knew I was going until after I went. And I purposefully did that because I didn't want anybody to psych me out. And I just was craving a reminder that I was alive, right? I just really wanted to break out of the monotonous, like just going to work every day. And granted, I am thankful for my job, but just breaking out of the routine, right? And just reminding myself that I am alive, you know, and to make it count. So it's crazy because the entire time I was like, I'm not nervous. And you guys, literally, we get to the edge of the plane. And I look down and I'm like, I cannot do this. I can't do this. And he's saying something and goes through one ear, out the other, of course, right? But we jump. And it feels like you're floating and you just float. And I'm like, okay, I could do this. Like, this is like the videos that I saw on YouTube. Like, we're just floating. If it feels this light, then I'm fine, right? Then you just feel the drop. Like a current will catch you for a little bit, you'll float, and then you'll just start to drop. And you start to drop faster and faster and faster. And I think with how high I went, the free fall was only 30 seconds, but that was enough for me. And I instantly went into a panic. And I was like, oh my God. And my entire body was like, I can't. But in my mind, I was like, Breonn, smile. And I know it sounds really, really harsh, but I was like, no, smile. You're not in danger. You're not scared. You're excited. And in the video, you can see on my face, I go from like, this like panicked look, and I like begin to smile, right? And I know it sounds really cliche, but genuinely, like, I just think it's so cool how I was able to like visually see that shift in my mindset. And it just goes to show that, like, and what it taught me was that I can do scary things. I can do things that freak me out. I could do things that scare the crap out of me. I could put myself at risk, and I will be okay. I will always make sure I am okay. So I say all that to say skydiving truly built such a stronger relationship with myself, and I really do believe everybody should do something that freaks them the fuck out at least once a year, because it'll build that relationship you have with yourself, and it'll really strengthen it, and just build your trust within yourself. And I feel like it really does pour into different aspects of your life once you're back on the ground. Like, I truly walk around now with a lot more trust in myself, a lot more faith in myself to do hard and challenging things, or even when I'm in scary situations, I just trust myself a lot more. So that's why I bring up skydiving, because I just feel like it was something that reminded me that I was alive. And I believe artists should do that, and even outside of artists, but just anybody, like, just as a person, and since I had just done it this past year, it's still something that is on my conscience, and something that truly did change my life. So yeah, I just wanted to bring that to you guys and encourage you guys to do the same, in the concept of, in the idea, in the vein of of doing things, being brave, being courageous. I do feel like I must clarify, I'm an artist that has a podcast. I'm not a podcaster. I'm not an influencer. Now, I will say, yeah, I am influential, but I'm not really concerned about, the popularity and things like that. I see that I have really professional resources and access to really cool things, and I don't take them for granted. I say it humbly, but I see the opportunity to use them to give back, and that's truly what I want to do and what my intention is with this podcast. So I'm using my resources as a vehicle, and using the platform that I'm building and developing as a way to open up more doors to more resources in order to cultivate the art at the caliber that I see in my head. But I love so much how the passion between me and my guests, and these real and honest conversations are able to be shared with the world. I love sitting with my guests and watching them light up as they talk about what they do. Everybody on season 2, I love you guys so much. And it's just so beautiful being able to talk to you guys about how you guys, communicate on different in different languages, in like energetic communication, when it comes to doing what you love, whether it be dance, or whether it be playing music, whether it be directing and in production, executing a film. I just think art is just such a spiritual language, and it's beautiful to be able to sit and witness it being discussed back to you and communicated back to you, and how it's spoken through other vessels. And when I say vessels, I mean my guests and other creatives. So I just think that's really cool. Something that I heard that was really interesting, it was a Harvard professor who was a guest on a client's podcast that we had here. I'm going to say his name, Raise a Statue. But he spoke about the curse of options, the power of commitment, and feeling like you're in control and forcing yourself to take consequential risks with little information. So he was talking about how a lot of entrepreneurs are scared to take risks without knowing absolutely everything. And I believe that really applied to pursuing an artistic career, because it's not steady and we don't know everything. But that's what makes you successful, though, is the ability to make huge decisions without knowing everything, right? And he also discussed how having like pouring yourself into multiple different things is the fear of being successful. And I was like, oh, as a as a multidisciplinary artist, I was like, oh, I'm passionate about multiple different things and I love pouring myself, and I do, right? But what is the one thing that you are choosing to go all the way with, right? The fear of being successful. You're scared to commit to one thing and be successful at that thing because you don't know, right? You don't know if it's going to work out. You don't know if this one thing is going to work, or if this other thing I could have chose was going to be the one thing that's going to get me to where I want to be, right? But what I do want to say is, with this show, with the reason that I created it, with my testimony, I since have been able to reflect on my post-grad experience. Now, anybody who is a listener of this show, especially with the introductory episode of season 1, know my story about just like post-grad being kind of rough for me, and it wasn't it wasn't a seamless experience. And it was a really rough time. It really, really was, for multiple different reasons. But I had to sit and ask myself, Breonn, why are you retelling this story? And I invite everybody else who talks about hard times to think about that. Why are you retelling this story? Why are you reliving this experience? And it caused me to sit and think about the role I played in it, even though I'm not saying I was the reason, any of that happened, but it just forced me to reflect on my relationship with that period in my life, and how I choose to use it, right? So I'm done with feeling like, oh, like I was a victim of my post-grad experience and yada yada yada. And that never was the narrative that I was coming from, but using it as, you know what, post-grad, the loneliness, the nights that I cried in my shower and I hated coming home, and and when I say home, I don't mean home in Colorado, but just home with where I lived. And just being so depressed and feeling like I was an imposter and I wasn't a real actor, right? And working a job where everybody was jealous of me and everybody liked making me feel like I was, this whatever. Okay, now what? Now what? You know? Now what? Who are you now? What are you going to do with that? So and again, I never, even with season 1, my intention wasn't to play the victim or anything like that, but I just say that to say I invite everybody to think about their relationship with their trauma. Think about their relationship with their pain. Think about your relationship with a hard experience, right? Does it have to be bad? Does it have to be pain? And it just made me kind of look at my post-grad experience. And you know what? I'm not like singing the blues about it anymore. I don't think it was a traumatic period anymore. I don't. Because it taught me how to go after it. It taught me how to grind. It taught me how to bet on myself. It taught me, most importantly, resilience. It taught me how even when you're backed in a corner and there's a bunch of people who are against you, that you can still make shit shake. You still could come out on top, right? You still, can be successful. You still can pursue what you want to do. And it taught me how to walk into rooms, with my head up higher, and to speak with a lot more conviction, and to have a lot more faith in myself and what I'm doing and what I'm saying and what my intention is, right? And I truly, truly do believe that if I did not go through my post-grad experience, I would not be sitting here right now in front of this camera. And it makes me so emotional. Like, Man, and it's hard to say that, but man, and there was a lot of pain that went into that, but I don't think I'd be as strong as I am now if I didn't go through that. I don't think I'd be able to pivot as quickly as I do now in my career. I wouldn't be able to do that as efficiently if I did not go through what I went through immediately out of college. No, so um as I said, man, that pain is testimony. It's my testimony, and it's what I speak when I sit in front of these cameras and I talk to you guys in these introductory episodes, man. So yeah, I just invite all of you guys to change your relationship with your pain, change your relationship with your trauma, and see what is it within that made you better, that made you stronger, right? And I know you hear it all the time with these motivational speakers on Instagram and TikTok and yada, yada, yada. I'm not that. But putting that into play, putting that into action, and actually exercising that mindset, man, does it make you way more of a powerhouse. So, and it also makes you so much more of a lighter person, right? When you don't take these hard experiences so personally, so just abolishing the victimhood mindset. And again, with season 1 and just my entire intention with the show, it was never to say, oh my gosh, look at all this bad shit that happened to me and look how hard it is and how no, but yeah, just use your pain as power, truly, because it really is. And when you put it into play and you put it into practice, you really do realize why all of those Instagram inspirational motivational speakers, why they preach that, because it's true. So what else do I want to say? Identity and self-concept, breaking away from your old identity and self-concept. Your self-concept is everything. Who you believe you are is who you will be, period. This is the only thing between you and where you want to be, and the best part is no one can take it away from you. Your self-concept and your identity, something that you define for yourself. So identity and self-concept is everything, especially when it comes to a creative career or even just being an entrepreneur. I want to be an Emmy Award-winning actress. Even just now, I want to be an Emmy Award-winning actress, right? But the thing is that once I'm holding that Emmy in my hand, I'm still Breonn, right? I still can act. I still have to memorize scripts. I still have to show up to set. I still have to, learn my lines and dive into my character, right? That's what I do. I've been doing this for 10 years, right? So it's like, why do I have to have that in my hand in order to finally believe that I'm the actress that I say that I am? So that, and also taking personal accountability of what my day-to-day looks like and what it would look like if I did have the Emmy, shifted something in me in terms of how I identify now and my relationship with myself even, right? And just overall how I go about navigating my career. I'm not trying to be an actor. I don't want to be an actor, right? I am that. I am the Emmy Award-winning actress. I am the Oscar Award-winning actress, right? All it takes is just me being in a movie that gets that. But the movie still needs to be made. The lines still need to be learned. I still have to show up to set, right? Things that I would do regardless if I got the Emmy or if I got the Oscar. So showing up as that person, as that version of you, it's so true. Putting it into play. 2026 is embodying. We've done the networking. We've done the reaching out, the coffee dates. We've done the training by now. We've taken the courses, right? We've talked to the people. We've done the mentorships, right? Now what? You're always going to be a student of life, but now what? When are you going to give yourself permission to be the person that you say that you are? That's what I want 2026 to be for me and my viewers. You are the person that you say you are. You are the person that you say you want to be. Period. Moving on. My newfound relationship with rest. Okay. Listen, y'all. Whenever I do the runs for this podcast, whenever I'm filming a season, y'all, when I tell you that social life stuff, we got to put that to the side. I am so tired because immediately after doing podcasting all day in terms of recording other clients and things like that, I go home and I edit. I'm still doing podcasts, right? Prepping for episodes and watching episodes over and over again. It's a lot of work. I produce this, I edit this entirely by myself. I seek the guests, I schedule everything, I do the execution timeline, I do the promo, the brand design, all of this, I do it by myself, right? So studying the social media analytics and things like that, right? So I wear like 12 different hats, and it's pouring a lot of energy into multiple different pieces of this. It's not easy. And I just say that to say, man, before doing this podcast, y'all, I truly did not understand the true importance of rest, like really what it meant, like mental rest, right? And it taught me that, like doing season 1 and even doing season 2 has taught me, dude, yo, like 8 p.m., babe, that D&D is on. Okay, I'm not, no, I can't, so, it just taught me that it just pushed me to my limit in terms of exhaustion, and energetic exhaustion and energetic recharge and what that truly looks like for me. What does that look like? It's sitting in silence, listening to music and dancing in the mirror for an hour, going on like 3-hour walks, things like that, that recharge me. And everybody has different things, right? But I found that out through doing podcasting, found that out for myself. So love that for me. And not only that, but even throughout this season 2, there were times where I was coming to Gotham, oh my God, like 7 days a week, like in like late October, early November, like 4 weeks in a row, I was here 7 days a week because I was recording also on the weekends, late afternoons, right? So it just really pushed me to my energetic limit of, just being here every single day and working 40 hours a week and doing like another round on the weekends, and I don't say that to complain at all by any means, but yeah, I just learned something from it. I'm excited for you guys to watch season 2. It truly was a very special season. And in a way, I feel like as I speak to you guys on this podcast, I also am speaking to myself, right? I'm motivating myself. I'm reminding myself. The things that I tell you guys are the things that I am actively practicing myself, So I'm grateful for it. Thank you guys so much. Please enjoy. Y'all know where to find me. On Instagram. On Instagram on the big screen eventually. But yeah, I'll see you guys in the regular season. As of right now, I'm not quite sure how I'm gonna roll out the resource series. I'm still kind of divvying out how I want to do that because I release every Thursday, and I'm like, do I want to release twice a week? That's a bit much. But also I want every Thursday to be an artist interview. So more on that later, but until then, I present to you season 2. I am your host, Breonn Lyons, and I will see you on the next episode.